So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Honestly, we do this because this is how we actually started back in the day in 2019. Not all of you were here. Most of you weren't, as a matter of fact. But back in 2019, what we did was we used to just jump on these things, and we did Telegram back then. But we would have a Telegram thing, and I would just fire it up, and we would have a whole little lesson for a couple hours or whatever. And it started out at my lunch break. Honestly, it was my lunch break, like at 12 o'clock noon or whatever Eastern time, and we would start talking about stuff, and it just went from there. Then we pulled up Discord eventually. We started doing Discord. Then we moved to YouTube to help more people. And YouTube's kind of turned into market updates, yeah, which I don't really care to do. People think we make a lot of money on YouTube. That's a joke. I make about 6 cents per video. So anyone who tells you you make a bunch of money on YouTube is a liar. You have to have big sponsors and stuff. We don't have that. So anyway, the last thing we did a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to do these every couple weeks. All right. The last week or 2 weeks ago, what we talked about was finding a trend. All right. I've got XR, and if you need to see what I'm doing here, there's 2 of me in this chat here. One is my picture. I can't turn my camera on. If I do, only 25 people can join. Now, the other one that I've got is my screen that I'm sharing. So you feel free to pull that up. It may lag a little bit, but it'll work. All right. So I've got XRP pulled up here, and this is the same thing I used from last time. And I've got the trend line, the overall downtrend that we found last time, pulled up on the screen as well. Now, that was important to understand because that comes first. Rule number 1, when you're charting any asset, doesn't matter what it is. And I've only used XRP here for the example, but whatever the asset is, when you're charting it, what you're looking for is to find the trend. We only buy uptrends. We sell downtrends. What was the downtrend that we sold? Well, that was the entire year of 2022. The entire year of 2022 was meant to sit on the sideline and do nothing. All right. Part of this year was sit on the sideline and do nothing. And I got in middle of January after it went up a little bit. Didn't buy exactly the bottom. I could have, but didn't do that. But that was a little bit too risky for me, and I wanted to wait it out a little bit longer. So we buy uptrends, we sell downtrends. We can see what we have here on the screen was a big downtrend. We charted that last time. We went over how to do that. That lesson is posted on the right in the chat over here, and I'll share it one more again right there. That is the previous lesson. You can, by the way, put chat right over here on the side. Anybody wants to talk about anything or anything, feel free. Support and resistance is the next most important thing. After you find your trend, all right, and you think you're going up or you think you're going down, whatever that is, what about the support and resistance? Support and resistance is a fundamental crutch of charts, all right? It's a fundamental crutch of technical analysis. Whatever the asset is, I don't care whether that's crypto or stocks, bonds, NASDAQ, ETFs, doesn't matter, all right? It all bases itself on support and resistance, and that goes on whether you're day trading 7 or 8 times a day on the same asset, you're down on the 5-minute charts, or if you're doing a macro and you're on the monthly, like I am right now. Common misconception of people who do TA is that we don't look at the macro. We only see the little stuff, and that's just completely false. Everything I do starts on the macro. I always start on a high time frame, and I work my way down. All right, it's very important to see the big picture. Whatever you're doing, see the big picture. All right, we're able to see the big picture in crypto, and we know there's certain times to do things and there's certain times to not do things. Okay. So support and resistance goes like this. In the last video, I showed you how to identify a trend. Look for groupings of candle bodies where they close, and that becomes a point of interest. And you're going to continue doing that from the left to the right until you find a higher high and a higher low. And that would be an uptrend. In the last video, we found that right over here. After it broke trend, this trend line was after you found your trend, right? We found a higher high and a higher low over here. What I want to show you now is finding the best place to buy. And that may not be the bottom and it may not be the top, but it's the best place to buy. How can we see where things are going to go, how far they're going to go, how long it's going to take to get there? Well, that's all based on support and resistance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the same thing I did with trend analysis first. I'm going to start all the way on the left, just like I did before. Okay. So right off the bat, this was our first grouping of candles. We had a bunch of openings and closings all in this one little spot right here. Okay. When we see that, what I want to do now, instead of drawing circles or drawing a little mark like I did before, like I did this and said, well, that's a point of interest, right? Fair. And I always use a bright color when I'm drawing here. But you can find that right over here on the left on the toolbar. Right here is the little drawing tool. I'm going to draw a horizontal line this time. I'm not going to draw with the drawing tool. I'm going to draw a horizontal line. And I'm going to do this on a monthly time frame first, high time frame first. What I'm looking for here is I'm going to mark my reversal areas. I'm going to mark points of interest where the chart kind of stalled out. And that's going to give me a preview of what's going on. I'm also in the replay mode here. What you see is from 2013 to 2017. You can't see anything else yet. And I did that on purpose. I don't want you to see it. So first thing I see a grouping of candles right here. I'm going to try to catch as many candle bodies as I can with a horizontal line. So I've grabbed the horizontal line tool right here. And I drew a red line. Now I draw red lines for monthly. That's how I particularly do it. You can do it how you'd like. That's the way it works for me. That's the colors that work for me. So when I start drawing these lines, I always draw red first. All right, so that was our first point of interest. We have a reversal right here. Fine, let's draw it. We have another reversal up here. All right, our first 3 points. All right, cool. All we've gone is doing is from left to right. We haven't even touched this over here. As I've done this, look at where these candles went back to. All right. This one line right here didn't get respected very well. This one all the way back down here, price blows through it, but then comes right back and tries to get over it again. All right. Then it tries again here. Then it tries again here and never quite cracks through. All right. And you don't have to draw these lines perfect. Just get close. Okay. Just get close. And I know by looking at this a little bit over, I can kind of see it needs to be dialed in just a touch. What I'm looking for here is as many hits on this line as I can get. The more hits you get on this line, the stronger the line is, or what we call heavy support. And by heavy support, I mean the price will fall back down to this line and likely hang on to it. The heavier the support is, the more likely it is the price won't fall far from it. All right. That was the alliteration, wasn't it? Fall far from it. Let's go. That was pretty good. All right. So there's also the same thing that goes with resistance. All right. The heavier resistance is, and the difference between support and resistance. Support is when the price is above a particular area, and resistance is when the price is below a particular area. All right. As we were tracking this, there wasn't very much data here, so the price just kind of shot up like crazy. All right. As we go along here and progress, you'll see things change. I'm going to drop this camera out so we can see a little bit more of the screen. All right. So this line gets dropped below. It tests the line, lots of wicks. I want candle bodies, but I'll take wicks. All right. Then it shoots back over. Now I want you to look at where these candles open and close right here. You see this? Look how close these candles respect this line that happened way over here, September 13th. I'm sorry, Sunday, September 1st of 2013. All right. This is all the way over here, December 14th, a year and some change later, but the candles still respect that area. Now, when you see a price jump way below or way above a support or resistance line, that's what we call flipping support or flipping resistance, and it'll flip the other way. So flipping support into resistance or flipping resistance into support. It's just common terms that get used a lot, that you'll see constantly. People say it all over the place. It's important to grasp, okay? In general, just like we want to buy our downtrends, we want to buy support. Just like in general, we want to sell downtrends, we want to sell resistance. We want to buy uptrend. I said it wrong the first time. We want to buy uptrends, buy support. We want to sell resistance, sell downtrends, all right? This is how we buy low and we sell high. Everyone always talks about buying low and selling high. Very rarely does anyone actually do it. All right. So I've only drawn 3 lines so far. Yeah, that's all I've drawn. I've drawn the one for this area, the one for this area, and the one for this area. That's it. So far, I don't have very much data here because I'm on a monthly chart. There's not a ton of candles. Let's let it play out a little bit more. As you see this thing go along, you see it dances under this line, then comes back and gives it a tag right here. Doesn't quite break it, gets pretty close. As we go along and get more data, we can more fine tune our lines and kind of see maybe that's a little better. catching all those openings and closings right there? So far, this line has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles that kind of closed around that area, right? This line down here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 candles so far. So this one's a little stronger than this one. Now we've developed a range. We've got a strong line overhead and a strong line in below. Now we can kind of bet where the price is going to be for a while. And sure as shit, it bounces around in that area for a while. Flipping and flopping around, not doing much or nothing. Fine. A little bit longer, what happens? Boom, price shoots down. And you could even say it reversed right here, couldn't you? So I'll throw another line in there. Look at how well it respects this line all the way back to this area. All right, so we actually missed one back there, didn't we? Yeah, we could say we missed it. All right, so we bounce off of that area and we come right back up into this one. I left a little bit out on purpose, and I'm going to get back to it in a second, but there's another line that kind of needs to be drawn right in here. You see that? A bunch of candles all right in here, open and close, and dance around in the same area. This is an area of either support or resistance. If you're over it, it's support. If you're under it, it's resistance, all right? I'm going to get to this in a moment. I'm going to take it back off for a minute, though. As this happens, we kind of range sideways back and forth, but the whole time we maintain this level, this line that goes all the way back to the very beginning of XRP. This line dances and dances and dances. I'm going to cheat and tell you it's 23 times. 23 times this line gets hit. That's pretty damn impressive if you think about it. 23 times. The next best one, 8. All right, so you can bet that line will be respected forever from this point. All right, and that number is 0.0059 or roughly 0.006. All right. Is XRP that price right now? No, it's not. It's way above that. So this is just an example to show you what I'm talking about. Now, once we jumped the trend line, like we did right here, we went over that in the last video. We tested that trend line just like we tested support right here. And what happened? We eventually bounced up off of it, didn't we? Yes, we did. Now, not only have we tested the trend line, but we have also tested support at the same time on a monthly time frame. That's a big deal, everybody. That's good. When you see that, it is worth taking a chance on. It's worth taking a chance on. Is that the perfect spot to buy? No, it is not. But it's worth taking a chance on. We can go over the perfect place to buy, of course, but I want you to see the macro view of the support and resistance as it plays out. Now, I'm going to drop down one time frame before I move on so you can see the other lines that I may have missed, right? Because maybe you don't trade on the monthly chart. That takes for friggin' ever, right? Maybe you want to do weekly. That means you're looking at charts one time per week. Can't really tell me you don't have time to look one time per week, because if you say that, I know you're lying and being lazy. One time per week. If you go to the toilet one time per week, you have time. Instead of scrolling TikTok, instead of scrolling Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or whatever it is you're wasting your time on, go look at a chart for 5 minutes. Is it really that much to ask? I don't think so. All right. We all have time. We just refuse to make it. Excuses turn into losses, and then losses turn into complaints, and the complaints turn into blaming everyone else when it's really just your own fault. All right. So I'm on a monthly chart. I've dropped down to weekly now, and I'm not going to do red lines anymore. I'm going to do a different color because this is a different time frame. So I'll pick the same horizontal line. And if you remember earlier, I said there was a line right in here need to be drawn somewhere, and I missed it. Let's draw that line in. Right about there. I'm going to do these in yellow. How about that? So all my weekly support and resistance lines will be in yellow. All right. And as you see, I just kind of drew this roughly, but there's a lot of touches on this line right here, isn't there? And you could maybe put it down here, whatever. I'm putting it there because that's where I think it should be. This is not an exact science. It's just helping you get closer to buying the right time than everyone else. And when I say everyone else, I mean 99% of people who have no idea what they're doing. All right. So I maybe see another one right in here. Maybe, but that's kind of tough. I don't know. So, maybe. And there's maybe a reversal right here. Yeah. we could be honest and say there's a flat reversal right there, up there above the price somewhere, whatever. So now we've got some support resistance lines drawn on the monthly, and we've got support resistance lines drawn on the weekly. We can kind of find the best place to buy and sell here. Right? Cool. So I've got this in replay mode. I'm going to replay this a little bit. Turn this off and show you kind of what happened here. And I want you to see these lines get respected. I'm on a weekly time frame, all right, not daily. Daily looks even cooler, but I want you to see this in weekly. Look at where these candles open and close each time. I drew this roughly. You guys watched me draw it. There was nothing beforehand, okay? Look at how well these candles stay inside these support and resistance lines each time. And I'm on weekly. Each time they chop around these lines, every time. This wasn't here a moment ago, all right? Look at where this one wicked off of and bounced off of. Remember that line I drew up here? Yeah, I remember that line I drew up there. Look at this one way up here. Oh my God, moon soon, right? But it stopped. It hit the pause button up here. Yeah, it hit a resistance line. It wasn't very strong resistance. It only had 1 or 2 candles hit as opposed to the one down below that had 22, or the one slightly above that that had 8. Well, this one only had 2, so it didn't hold as long. But look at that. It did play hell, didn't it? Didn't give up easy, did it? So even though when someone says moon soon and, oh my God, you're going to miss out, you had a chance even way up here to get back in, didn't you? Exactly. As a matter of fact, this thing bounced off and come down and tagged a weekly line before it went right back up and kept going higher. You look at this and you say, oh yeah, Keith, that's easy to say. That's easy to say because you're looking way back in history. Well, that's easy, Keith. Fine. Let's do it again, shall we? This is all the way after it made its huge run up. Let's do the same analysis again. All right, so I see some reversals right here on the bottom of this. I'll make that one red. I'm on a monthly time frame again. I switched back from weekly to monthly. Right here, I see a bunch of candles grouping around. I'm looking on the left of here. Always start on the left and work your way to the right. Right there's the reversal. And then we get a bunch of them in here, don't we? Reversal here. Oh boy, reversal here. Reversal here. Oh man, that's a bunch of shit in there, isn't it? Yeah, it's a lot of lines in the way, isn't it? This is an important point to bring up. There are going to be charts that you run into that have a ton of resistance above the price. What does this mean? Well, it means you've kind of been lied to. The price is not going to shoot up as high as you think it will. Because that resistance is there and in the way, it's going to slow up progress on the way and cause things to go a little slower than you want them to go. In fact, a lot slower than you want them to go, no matter what. Now, older assets tend to have more resistance. Younger assets tend to have less. And I'm going to pull you up an example now of something with very low resistance so you can see it and go, oh, okay, well, that's why it ran so fast. All right. I'll do that with, how about, I'll just pick a random one, AVAX. Let's do AVAX. And I bet you the best data is on Binance. Yeah, roughly. All right, best data is on Binance. So, same thing on a monthly here. You got one line in the way. That's it. There's no more resistance. After that, it was all bull run. Look at the date, 2020. Right, bull run's on. Cracks through resistance, goes up, rolls back over, and then bounces on it. It has flipped it from resistance into support perfectly. If you were wondering where to buy an AVAX and you was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss out. What do I do? Well, here was the perfect spot to buy. Right on support. Right on support. I didn't need any indicators to tell me this. Just right on support. All right. From there, more up. You created one more little line of resistance right there, didn't you? After it did this big little move up and rolled over. Big little was an oxymoron, but you get what I mean. You had a chance, though, right here. The very next month, this thing comes down and bounces off of that support that it created way up here after it flipped resistance. It ran up and flipped resistance into support and then went higher. Didn't mean to draw that. Went higher. Now we've got new resistance. Now, after the bull run is ended, this is 2021 up here. Bull run's over now, isn't it? Yeah, January 2022 starts. All downhill from here. Starts to hurt, yeah? When this started back here, It only had one line to get through. One line to get through, just like XRP had on its way up. Way back in the day, had one line to get through, yeah? Now we've got more lines. All right, so we've probably got one in here. One could argue that we got some more right over here. And I would also hear an argument for another line to be drawn over here. See how well that maintained that line there? Look at that. It's like damn near drill sergeant perfect. One would argue maybe there a line should be. All of a sudden you have 1, 2, 3, 4 lines in the way of progress as opposed to one line in the way of progress. This is how we're able to see something and go, hey man, that looks good, but I don't think it's going to do what you think it's going to do, because there's a bunch of speed bumps in the way of progress here. All right. It's going to slow down and it's not going to go as fast as we want it to. All right. This is why those newer assets that you buy in a bull market go so fast. They don't have any resistance. Pepe is an excellent example of that. No resistance. Bam, off it goes nonstop. Right. Now, once we slow down here and the price rolls down and it starts to go back down a little bit, oh man, now it's got shit to push through. Speed bumps in the way of progress. And that's just the monthly line. I didn't draw any weekly lines yet. All right. The more lines you have in the way, the harder it is for this thing to get through. All right. Now I'm going to go back to XRP. I just wanted to show you a different chart with a similar look. And you're going to see this play out when the bull market comes back. And I want you to remember this. I know this because this is how it works. It's not me just saying that. So how are we able to say that XRP was going to slow down and not go monsoon as fast as everyone thought it would? Well, we knew last time there was two lines in the way of progress, a red line here and a red line here. That's it. You had some yellows in there, sure. I haven't even drawn any yellows in here yet. And I want you to look at how much crud is in the way of this chart. This line has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22 hits. This line. 22 hits. It took a while for it to get through that, didn't it? And even when it did, look at that big run up and then big run right back down and then big run up. You're going to blame that on the SEC. I don't care. Look at the chart. Did the SEC continue to sue them afterwards when it went to $2? Yeah. Well, then why did it go to $2? Well, we can make excuses all day long. What I see is this thing bounced over the trend line, got over support, and once it finally did, it managed to maintain, and it went very slow along the way. Look at how well it respected these lines. It's really impressive, honestly. This line here. Look at how many hits it's got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You could argue 12 to 15 hits. Pretty damn impressive. Pretty damn impressive. Going to take a while to get through that, isn't it? And as a matter of fact, it took about 5 months for it to get through this line. All right. From there, you had this candle up and this line up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hits. Right here. 10 hits. And look how hard it worked to get through that line. And it just blow through like it did before, did it? No, it didn't. It took a while to get through. All right. Oh, I messed up. Let me roll down here. Then, how did we know? Well, here's the best one. How did we know it was time to stop at XRP? I bought XRP at 11 cents, everybody. 11 cents. I could go back if I had to and find the addresses where I bought this stuff. I bought it on Binance. You can't do that anymore, but that's where I got it. I then accidentally sent it to the wrong thing with the wrong memo, and that took a metric ton of effort to get back because I screwed that up. But I got it back. Had to send my ID with a picture of me saying stuff, and it was ridiculous. But how did we know this was going to stop at $2? I sold it at $1.96 or something like that, and some other guy sold it at $1.98. Hey, look, resistance. The one resistance line up here that it had left was here. One resistance line. I was able to look at this and go, hey, man, I don't think this thing's going to push through. I remember back in the day, the down here, it was on a weekly time frame, but this thing slowed up right here. So worst case scenario, I'm going to get a chance to rebuy if it throws a big red candle. And it did. It threw a big It threw a big red candle right here and then threw another one right here. All the while, I'm looking at this going, oh man, this thing keeps throwing big red candles. Is it going to gear up and make another run up? I'm hopeful that it is, yeah. We get hopeful about things. We're in the middle of a bull market. We're looking at stuff. We're going, hey man, now I know I'm right here. I got this. They're going to throw this case out. They're going to win, and I know this, and I'm going to be a millionaire, right? Where do I rebuy this? Well, once we started breaking these lines, like we broke here and we broke here, now these lines are no longer resistance. Now they're support. So as they come back down and hit these lines, and I'm going to zoom in here for you. I'm going to go down to the weekly time frame. You can see it a little clearer here on the weekly. All right, let me position it real well here. So this thing ran up on the weekly time frame and hit the resistance line. I mean, perfectly. This happened to be the perfect top. I started rebuying when it came down here and hit support. These lines that were resistance now no longer are resistance. They're now support. Prices above them. Okay, cool. I bought down here. It went up a little bit. The day I got an 821 downward cross that we went over last time on a daily chart, I was right back out. Right back out. I got other stuff to buy. We're in the middle of a bull market. There's so many assets to buy in a bull market. Why would I hawk in on one as if it's going to be the one that makes me a millionaire? Not necessary, okay? We can spread our assets out over many, many things. We can find many, many different ones to buy. So that's exactly what my thought process was during this. I said, well, hell, I can buy something else in the meantime. I don't remember what I bought. I bought other stuff. What was the date on here? June 21. So that was right about the time when I was looking for something else to buy. That's right about the time we learned about strong nodes. I learned about strong nodes in February of 21. So I started buying them in February of 21. And I took all my profits in 2022 in October of 2021, then November, then December, then January of 2022. I got out all the way, right? But I also did rebuy this XRP again. I rebought right down here. Why did I do that? Again, we buy support, we sell a resistance. There was some support up here. There was a lot of support down here. And since I knew there was a lot of support down here, I said, hey man, I'm ready to rock and roll here. And this is when I started drawing rectangles on the chart rather than having all these lines, because what these lines do, well, they confuse people. It gets messy, yeah? Everyone always says that, well, the chart gets messy, and I can't understand. So how about we draw some rectangles, yeah? So right in through here, oh, I messed that up. Let me grab a rectangle tool. Right there under the drawing tool is a rectangle tool. I'm going to draw a rectangle on top of support here. All right. So I'll draw it right about here. And I'll say anything that hits this box, once it's gone over, anything that hits this box, I'll rebuy. And I did. I rebought this and it went back up. Now, I expected this to keep going, not going to lie. However, it stopped right up here at the top. So I actually sold this on over here somewhere. All right. I got back out again. I want to say it was roughly $1, but I don't exactly remember that. I have to go back and look. Now we've started to make some mistakes. Yeah. We have a downtrend. And now that we have a downtrend, we should not be buying this again. We shouldn't be buying this until we have an uptrend. And guess what? We still don't have an uptrend on XRP to this day. Now, could we have bought support along the way? Yeah, I'll argue that. I'll argue that. That's fine. You had the same hit right here that you had right here and the same little run up that you got right there. Yeah. Fair. And the same failure that you got right there too. Yeah. Cascading capitulatory failures. Same thing happened. Now, luckily, we go all the way back in history here. And some of those lines that we drew on XRP back in the day are starting to show themselves again. Remember that line that had 20-something hits on it? I remember. Remember the Member Berries episode of South Park? I remember. All right. So, same thing here. I'll draw a box on top of support, and we'll just go all the way across this SOB. All the way to here. And would you looky there? Bouncing on support. Over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. These charts do the same thing over and over again. Why are we acting like they don't? Why do we pretend that these things don't happen? Well, I think I've shown you here support and resistance. It's not that complicated. If you don't understand, we have a Discord full of people to ask. Okay? We have a Discord full of people to ask. It's half off right now. That's right, half off. It won't be half off for much longer. Here's the link. Let me get it to you real quick like. Right here. Copy. And then pull that up there. And then hit right click and then paste. Some of you guys are already on here. Some of you guys are not. Right there's the link. For those who are not, it pays for itself. I mean, my gosh, it's a whopping $8. It pays for itself. You make that money back on the indicators that you use on TradingView that you don't have to pay for the expensive TradingView, which is $12 a month, right? You can use the regular TradingView, which is $8. Anyway, I'm going to talk to you about the psychology of trading for a second. Let me erase some of this stuff on the chart. One last thing I'll go over. Just like those support boxes, when you fall under them, they become resistance boxes. All right. So resistance is red, remember? So I just drew a red box now instead of it being green. I'll shade it in red. Until this red box breaks, I'm not overly excited here. I've often said that I had a hard cap of 60 cents for XRP for the rest of the year. And depending on how perfectly you draw this box, you can tinker with them and we can practice drawing them later. All right. That's roughly 60 cents. And that just so happens to be running into resistance right here on the bottom of these candles. Do you see that? And look what the price did the last two times. Hit resistance, hit resistance. Yeah, it's struggling, isn't it? Struggling. Not only that, but we're running right up against this big trend line that I know you all can see, whether or not you want to believe it or not. I know you can all see that. It's going to have a hard time getting through this. I am hopeful that it gets through because I want to see it do the exact same thing it did last two bull runs, which is break that trend line and dance over top of it. More importantly, what I want to talk to you about for a moment is the psychology that goes into this. You cannot, please understand, if you didn't listen to nothing else, listen to this. You cannot get married to these assets. Often I hear, I just love me some XRP. I just love me some Ethereum. I just love me some Solana. Please listen to me. They don't love you back. Coming from someone who's divorced, a toxic relationship is when one person loves the other person more and puts in more effort than the other person does. All right? That's a toxic relationship and they don't last. And even if they do last, you're unhappy. All right? Same thing goes for investing. If you love an asset that doesn't have the ability to love you back, it's a toxic relationship. And I'm telling you right now, you should probably get out of that. It is not going to work the way you want it to, just because you want it to. All right? These are hard truths that really, really sucked for me to learn at first. But I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I made. All right? Frank right over there often says, give me harshful truths over fanciful lies. And I couldn't agree more. If you'll be straight with me, even if it hurts my feelings, if you'll be straight with me, I appreciate that more than someone bullshitting me and lying to me. All right? It's as simple as that. There's not a single one of these assets that I love. Zero. The only asset I love is a gain. The only thing I hate are losses. All right? And I'll get emotional sometimes. Yes. I'll buy something and I see it in an uptrend. And I'm like, man, I got to get more. I got to let it ride. I'm like, Keith, it's running into resistance. It's probably time to think about selling some or maybe taking some profits here. And that's up to you to build a strategy on yourself, right? You got to work a little bit. You got to do it on your own and come up with your own strategy for selling and taking profits. Maybe you want a little piece. Maybe you want a lot. Maybe you only want some, Jesus Christ. Hold on, my phone's going nuts over here. I got chicken on the grill. I got chicken on the smoker, and it's up to 150 right where I want it, which is pretty cool. But I'm gonna leave it on there for about 20 or 30 more minutes. I always like to overcook chicken just a touch because everyone here freaks out. Anyway, like I was saying, you can kind of work with a little bit and decide, hey man, when this thing hits resistance, I'm going to sell 20%, or maybe I'm up 70%. Maybe I take 70% profits. or whatever. Maybe I get my initial money back. That's up to you to decide. All support and resistance does is show us the major areas where things are going to go back to and the major areas where things are likely to slow down. Okay? And that's what I want you to get. That's what I want you to get an understanding of. We showed you how to find a trend. We showed you how to find support and resistance and find a trend. You now know more than 90% of people know. With this, take it and go farther. You can if you'd like, or you can just use the simple little tools that we just went over because that's enough, honestly. It's more than most people have. And you're going to make exponentially more money than other people. This does not have anything to do with buying a scam or not buying a scam. I don't care. It's your money. You're going to do what you want to do anyway. I'm not going to buy scams. I'm going to buy what I think is legit. And if it's a little sketchy, I'm never going to put more than I 100% plan to lose. You guys have no idea how much money people left on the table last time. I've talked to a lot of you guys in the DMs. I know how much money you lost. I've talked to major people who I looked up to last bull market, whom I thought were absolutely killing it. Flat out lied to everybody and then told me later in the DMs because they asked me for money to help them out. All right. I don't want to see you guys be that. So let's do better. Now, last thing I'm going to show you here is Bitcoin. The last thing I'm going to show you here. All right. And the reason I'm going to show you this is because a lot of people clowned me in January and said, hey, Keith, you missed the bottom. Ha ha. That's what you get for not buying. Buy the dip, Keith. Fair. I did miss the bottom by a little bit. Let me show you why I thought it was going to go a little farther. Those same rules that I just showed you about buying support and selling resistance applied here. All right. Back to our last bull market right over here, 2017 high. I'll put a mark there. All right. I'm just going to mark off a couple little highs here. Yeah. Right over here, June 19. This ended up being a very important spot in the charts. And I'm going to be moving that forward till 2024 and 2025 because I think we'll have a similar thing happen. Okay. This was the first time Bitcoin ever came back to support. What do I mean? Well, here's 2015. Here's 2013's high. And maybe a couple more little highs in here somewhere. As you see, this thing went up and never came back down. Same thing back here. Here's 2011 highs. It broke through and it never came back down. Fair? You can see that? It was a fair assumption to make that that wouldn't happen again. However, once this downtrend got started, and we all know about downtrends now, once this downtrend got started, it didn't give up. And it ran back to support, as you see here. This thing bounced around on support for quite a while. It dropped underneath it, and when this drop underneath it happened right here, I went, ooh. The next support, the next good support, well, that's way down here, roughly 11,000, 12,000. Basically 10,000. I said, man, you know what? It'd be really nice to get that price, wouldn't it? Here's where I got a little greedy, yeah? I got a little greedy. So I was waiting on it to come down here and hit this, and it didn't. It flat reversed right here, right back up. Did the upside down Bart Simpson, didn't it? So I missed, right? So we can draw another couple little lines right here. We clearly have one here now that I missed. So when we go down to the daily, where did we get our buy signal? Here's where I missed everybody. You can go back in the live streams and actually watch and see where I made my mistake because I went back and reanalyzed myself. Yeah. When I screwed up, I'm like, what did I do wrong here, man? And I finally realized it. Even though this was under trend, we got an 821 cross right here, January 5th. This is the perfect time to buy, like I just showed you in the last video. And this goes to show you that everyone makes mistakes and everyone can screw up. Own it. Move on and fix it. All right. Right here was the perfect buy at 16,600. It's kind of an ugly number, 16,666 actually. So that was the perfect place. From there, we shot up and we really haven't stopped since. Now, I ended up buying over here at $20,010, right? Once it tested the back trend, once it back tested this trend line right here, that's where I ended up buying and I ended up selling. 3 different points, 30, 30 and a half, and 31, I think, was where I sold, something like that. I have to go back and look, but I sold 3 different times. One more little thing here. I want you to understand that most of this has nothing to do with people. It's mostly bots and mostly automated trading. 90% of everything you see is not people. 90% of everything you see is a computer doing it for people. Now, it's programmed by the people, but people are emotional and they will stop it. So what they've done is they've learned not to do that, to let the thing run, leave it be. All right. This is the way most trading is done. It's the way charts form, the way they form, and how we're able to know what's going to happen. All right. So I want you to understand that occasionally there are psychological numbers that matter. What psychological numbers am I talking about? Nice flat round numbers like 10,000 or 20,000 or 1,000. It's a nice flat number. It's not $1,117.16. It's just 1,000. Makes sense? Or it's not 25.017676439.6. It's just 21. All right. Those numbers matter. I want you to understand those nice flat round numbers more often than not get hit. So there's a little trick you can do. I got this red line drawn at 19,386. That's really, really close to 20,000, isn't it? So if you put this number right at 20,000, it's almost dead nuts the bottom of this retrace. Pretty much dead nuts the bottom of that retrace. And it closely lines up with this over here. It's not perfect, but it's close. Okay? Understand those flat psychological numbers will matter. Previous bull market to the one we just had, the price stopped at 19,988 or roughly 20,000. This run stopped at the top of our bull market, roughly 68,232 or roughly 68,000, which was damn close to 70,000, wasn't it? And depending on the exchange, some people say that their exchange hit 70,000. I don't really believe it did, but some exchanges may have hit 70,000. These nice round flat psychological numbers matter. Use them moving forward. All right. You don't have to do any of this stuff. I understand most people are going to watch this back and go, this is dumb. Blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. I get it. I really do. Just understand the people who are using the chart are going to make more money than you. And I don't mean just a little bit more. I mean a lot more, because we're also going to sell the top. We're going to buy near the bottom. And we're going to sell near the top over and over and over and over again. And we're going to do that across many, many assets. This is going to free up money for us during the process. We'll have cash that's fluid that we can move around, or stable coins in this case that we can move around. And we'll use those to buy new stuff as it comes out. So whenever you're stuck in whatever particular asset is, and because we were using XRP so much, I'll say XRP. When you're stuck in XRP and you refuse to sell it until it hits $1,000 a coin, just realize that there were about 3,000 other assets that did markedly better than that one you bought, because you were too stubborn to understand that there are probably other things to buy. All right. So that's it. I hope everyone gathered something from this. This stuff will be here. You can always jump in here and read this chat. It's always going to be here. I don't erase the chat. All right. I want everyone to be able to read it and see it from now on. Right. How are you supposed to succeed against bots was the question. You don't succeed against bots. You go with them. Never, ever try to counter trade something that's better than you. You're going to lose. So follow them. And that's the chart. That's why we follow the chart. I don't follow people. I follow the chart. If you follow people, you will lose. People lie. People are emotional. They cheat. They lie. They steal. Bots don't do any of that. Computers just are. They don't have the ability to do any of that other stuff. And you'll hear some arguments for AI, blah, 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 whatever. Someone has to push the buttons behind that to turn that on too. It's the same thing. All right. And I get it. And a lot of people are going to ask about AI trading. Okay, great. We also have that too. It's fine. It's not much better than regular trading. It's just flashy right now because it's come out recently. All right. People have been doing this since the 80s. And before that, they were doing it in the 70s. Before that, they were trying to automate it in the 60s. This is old stuff. People are just now learning about it. You guys are new investors. You guys are relatively young investors in the grand scheme of things. So use that knowledge that you have now and you'll get exponentially better. I got this whole thing recorded. I'll post it up in the same thing I did last time, so everyone's got it. It'll also, for the members, be over in the weekly content section. So you can go over there and see that right there with the weekly roundups we do every Monday. And we'll have it so everyone can watch it. We'll do another one of these in 2 weeks. So we did trend lines and analysis for trends and 821 EMA first. We did support resistance and some basic psychology second. We might go into some other stuff third, perhaps RSI or something simple like that. That's not very complicated. We'll figure that out when we get there. Haven't even set it up yet. So once every 2 weeks, guys, tune in. All right, we'll keep doing these until everyone gets it. Thank you all for coming. Y'all be good, and I'll see you later, all right? Peace.